Former U.S. President Donald Trump narrowly escaped an attempted assassination bid during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. The FBI has identified and intensified investigations into the incident, along with Secret Service and local and state law enforcement. Report indicates bomb-making materials have been found in Trump rally shooter's car. Sources say gun recovered at Trump rally was legally purchased by suspect's father. According to the probe agency, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks fired shots, one of which grazed Trump in the ear. The suspect hails from Pennsylvania's Bethel Park, a village located about 64 kilometers south of where Trump rally was being held in Butler. Crooks was reportedly positioned on the roof of a manufacturing plant, which is located over 130 yards away from the stage where Trump was speaking. The FBI says it's working to determine the motive behind the attack that killed a rally attendee and injured 2 other spectators. However, the Secret Services says it killed Crooks seconds after he fired the shots. State voter records show that Crooks was a registered Republican. When Crooks was 17, he made a $15 donation to a political action committee that raises money for left-leaning and Democratic politicians. But law enforcement officials say Crooks carried no identification to the shooting site and that he had to be identified using other methods. Meanwhile, probe agencies have raided the alleged gunman's residence. Dozens of law enforcement vehicles have been stationed outside the residence, with the area cordoned off completely. Hours after the attack, Trump on Truth Social said, and I quote, "We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness. Our love goes out to the other victims and their families. We pray for the recovery of those who were wounded and hold in our hearts the memory of the citizen who was so horribly killed." Remember, a rally attendee died and 2 other spectators suffered serious injuries in the attack. Let's now take a look at how the horror unfolded during Trump's rally on Saturday.
Take a look at what happened.
Lester Manson is a senior fellow at the National Security Institute and is also a principal international at BGR Group. Mr. Manson is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Manson, welcome. Great to have you with us. The big focus and debate is on enhancing security for politicians in America, including ex-presidents. Experts say there was a loophole in the Secret Service personnel and reaction to the shooting. What should happen now going forward, especially in campaign rallies that are held in open grounds?
Well, great question, Eric. I think we're going to see increased security for President Trump, for former President Trump, President Biden, and also we should note there's a third candidate for President of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who currently does not have Secret Service protection. I suspect he's likely to get that in the very near future. But clearly there was an issue yesterday, on Saturday, with this attempt from someone who was relatively close to the former president. So there's no doubt going to be changes and enhanced security for leading politicians running for president and perhaps for other offices in the United States as well. I do hope this is a one-off event and not part of a larger trend. But that remains to be seen.
Many people are shocked and still coming to terms with such an incident happening to Trump while campaigning, but the ramification will be felt in the coming days or future. How has the incident impacted or influenced the politics in America?
Well, I think it's going to be dramatic. the issue before the assassination attempt was President Biden's fitness for office because of his age and perhaps related infirmities. That issue has not gone away, but people have been obviously paying less attention to it for the last day or so. I expect that as we shift from this terrible incident that happened with former President Trump, the focus will go back on President Biden's fitness. And the Democrats do have a real issue here. There are many leading officials in the party, many members of Congress are very concerned about his viability as a candidate. They are seeking to replace him. He does not want to leave. That challenge has not gone away. If anything, the events of yesterday, once focus returns to President Biden, could kind of galvanize the folks who are urging him to get out of the race. So I expect there to be some more urgency on the side of Democrats once we get past this initial shock and horror from what happened.
Well, the U.S. President Joe Biden did react to this incident. He actually said something very interesting. He said that he's calling for unity between Democrats and Republicans. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I think, I hope, Eric, I'm not sure exactly what he meant. What I hope he means is that his party is going to turn to a more inclusive messaging structure. And to be fair here, while the Democrats have been somewhat divisive in their rhetoric, the Republicans have been more so. So both sides, there's a little bit of a pox on both sides, but I think Republicans have been worse on this issue of campaign rhetoric. If President Biden can lead his party, and his party can kind of embrace a broader message of inclusion and tolerance and respect for the other side, that could help them facilitate a new candidate with this new message in the near future and give them a much better chance against former President Trump in the fall during the actual election. Right now, it very much looks like President Biden is going to lose to former President Trump in the election. So they've got to make some changes to get to an aspect where they have a chance of winning. And perhaps this new rhetoric can be part of that.
All right. We'll have to leave it at that. I've been talking to Mr. Lester Manson. Mr. Manson, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you, sir.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.